Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head on UATV and I'm Ohlashennyy. As Ukraine seeks to develop in line with European standards, it is determined to increase both security and quality requirements of its goods. This means working in accordance to world standards, especially on the food market, which is the topic of discussion today with my guest in the studio, Yuriy Ohlashennyy, senior expert at EU project Improvement of Food Safety Control System in Ukraine. Hello and thank you for being with us today, Mr. Ohlashennyy. So, mainly you are operating with HACCP, which stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point. What is that?
HACCP is a simple and very logical tool how to control technological process, how to organize hygiene processes at the enterprise, and it is dedicated to control process instead of control final product, instead of laboratory control. It is a more
safety system.
Yeah, this is a safety system, okay. Which allows us to find out hazards on the stage of technological process, then analyze laboratory, then do laboratory analysis of final good.
Mm-hmm. What other countries operate with this safety system?
Most of the countries, all EU countries, and most of the countries in the world which are interested for our producer as potential export countries for export.
And does current Ukrainian legislation oblige our food producers to implement these HACCP norms?
Correct. This HACCP norms now are in new food legislation, and some business operators already had to implement.
So this food legislation is already in force?
Yes, in force.
Since when?
Since 2014.
Since 2014, okay.
And some enterprises had to implement this system by September 2018. Small enterprises by 2019.
Okay, so there is still 1 year room left
for small
enterprises
yes,
to comply their standards with the European ones. Okay, so what products are already covered by these norms?
The products which are produced from ingredients of animal origin.
Okay, so all the meat products?
All the meat products, all the milk products, and egg products, etc.
Mm-hmm. Well, after we signed free trade agreement with the European Union in June 2016, Ukraine exports around 40% of different types of goods to the European Union. And if we are speaking right now about the food products, and we introduce this HACCP norms by fall 2019, and as you mentioned, are these norms mandatory for the producers who are basically focused on exporting their goods, or are they mandatory for all the food producers all over the country, including the domestic market?
This system is mandatory for all producers, for all food business operators in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. But what if some producers will try to avoid these new norms? Because as far as I understand, like improving the process of food production, improving the norms and quality of food will basically increase the investment into the process.
Yes, but not only increasing of investment, because it is one of the stereotype that HACCP system requires more resources and more investment.
Yes.
In premises. But this system is more due to how to organize the process. And if we have old enterprise with old buildings, with old equipment, but this building and this equipment is good maintained, in good condition, it allows food business operator to produce safe product. So it's more how to organize the process than and not too much requirements for the establishment as a new one.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you wouldn't expect any negative feedback from any Ukrainian producers or farmers.
Some of them already implemented HACCP system because food market requires it.
Yeah.
And their clients required, and they implemented this system.
Yeah, if they want to sell the product, of course, they need to go by the standards. But I just mean, would there be any attempts to avoid this good standards? Because we know, as food producers in Ukraine are used to this fake labeling of the goods to decrease the quality of food products. That's why I'm asking about the feedback from these companies.
HACCP system is mandatory.
Mandatory.
And also, it is very flexible system, and food law foresees simplified approach for small enterprises and for those who have a very simple process.
Who will be accountable for ensuring that these manufacturers comply with HACCP norms?
Now we have a new law of official control on food safety,
okay.
And competent body will control, and this control...
competent body, what's the name, I mean, of this competent body?
The State Service of Food Safety and Consumer Protection.
Okay, okay.
And
what is the procedure?
This new control will be based on a risk-oriented approach. Those enterprises who produce more product, who have more complicated processes, and these enterprises which have problem with complying of food law requirements, this enterprise will be controlled more often than others.
Mm-hmm.
So there are categories of risk for every enterprise, and every enterprise is in certain category of risk, and competent body will plan official control according to this risk categorization.
And what is the punishment provided by the new legislation in case the company doesn't comply with the standards? It's in case basically the food product is not quality enough.
Different punishments, penalties to stop the production.
To confiscate, basically?
Confiscate this unsafe product. It is obligatory, and this, moreover, food business operator itself should think about the product and should take appropriate action if there are reasons to think that product which is on the market is unsafe.
What goods are in the risk group, so to say, speaking in terms of safety?
It could be a different group of products. First of all, maybe it is ready-to-eat products, also a product of animal origin. Mm-hmm. It depends on the producer, and depends on the certain working environment, production environment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, and also, as I mentioned, a big issue in Ukraine is labeling food packages. How does HACCP control that? Are there new requirements for labeling?
Correct labeling is one of the prerequisite program of HACCP. This is the basic requirements.
Okay.
And the information for the labeling should be correct and should be appropriate for the consumer.
Okay, so also this institution about food safety will be responsible for controlling the labeling of the food products in Ukraine.
Correct. Controlling of labeling is one of the is a part of the official control.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if Ukrainian food producers will be adhering to these new standards, how could the export potential change in Ukraine?
Export will increase definitely because as soon as we have harmonized legislation, it we have appropriate official control. it means that we can sell our product in EU, because every batch of products which comes to EU should fulfill requirements of EU food legislation.
Yeah.
And if we have the same legislation, it means that export will be easier.
Well, now we have export with the European Union also, and 40% means that European Union is a big partner for Ukraine. But is there any more precise forecast how would this indicator, this figure, change within years if we do implement these standards? Because nowadays we do know that we have all these quotas for export, excuse me. So how would this export level indicator change?
Now we have some kind of product which are not allowed to export to EU, like meat, for example, pork.
Okay.
And we opened poultry. We can export poultry, we can export milk product, but other meat products are not allowed for the export to EU. So as soon as we established this new legislation and new approach for control, export will increase.
And the very last question, because we're running out of time, how would HACCP influence the prices on the domestic market?
It's an interesting question, and I would say that HACCP is not rocket science. It's like common sense on industrial scale.
Yeah.
And if food business operator implement this system, it also gives him some profit, and food business operator will control will control the processes better, and it shouldn't there are no reasons
to increase the price.
The price,
because the product is going to be more compatible. So
yeah. Correctly.
It can go on the international market. Well, thank you very much for your interesting comments, and thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.
That was Yuriy Ohlashennyy, senior expert at EU Project Improvement of Food Safety Control System in Ukraine. Thank you for watching Head to Head, and stay tuned for more with UATV.